Dam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniya Dayami
Sinayata Ta Rushabatela Jish Tedu Kasure Duran Shishabatela Tatu Shakim Bata Tela Tavala Tela Siba Deba Sitra Deba Niga Mudeba Kasa Sumichagu Imbare Siba Debata and Siba Mudebata Niga Mudeba the Teshagu in that and the Chola Condro Dada Koya Dunga Chichida some gentlemen Demini the Jimmy the Jim Mudi Yandeda Ranjunam Jitunam Shi
So we're at verse 31. I have a different text. So, enmity towards the Dharma, a view asserting an existing self, fear of samsara suffering, and neglect of the welfare of fellow beings are the four veils of those with great desire, of Tirthakas, Charvakas, and Pratika Buddhas.
Oh, Digi Kandere Sana, Dejimba. Setra Sibandeba, Tiba Chimbu Chela, Controjin, Shetangwa, Dejamba Che, Tribatela, and Tiba Chimbu Chela, Controshi, Dawa, the Tribache.
So these, you have the different types of obscurations or veils. One first being the wishing for samsaric existence, having great animosity towards the Dharma.
Ani Datu Tawa Seikana Dini, or Kansa Mudijan, Datu Sibatan Trawan Dejang, Kansa Data Jan Mudiba.
Then you have the second type of obscuration, the view of asserting the self, the view of the self. So, although in the case of second individual, there is the wish to be free of samsara existence, but having this veil of this view of the self. 31. Is it 31?
For us, it's 32.
Okay, 32. Sorry. I don't have it. Which one? Okay, fine for me though.
Just take it.
It's different.
Oh yeah, this one.
No.
This one. Oh. Da Koya Dunga Chicha, Samjan Tela Demini, Sikana, Anita Carrera, Sipa Debatang, Sipatan Trawa Niga Mudeba, Rani Jibi Tedu, I'll call you Ten Dungaji June, Samjan Dodeba. So, again, Niga Mudeba said, oh, Yandeta Ra Sanje, Yandeta, Samjan Taja Dunga Trawa, Dagi Chow, Yandeta. Samjatam Dunga Trawa, Dagi Chow, Yabaki, Samjakutella, Dewa Meba, Tanyaran Yodimbari.
And then you have the third category, who do not have this, who do not have this, who do not have the what you call the wish for samsaric existence, and who also do not wish for that view of the self. So this third category is the Shravakas and the Pratikas, the hearers and the solitary realizers.
Oh, that did a country, Sana. Dejan Dala Tawala Sundikana, Samjan Tela Demi, Dejan, Chela Konda Data, Dejan, Data di Mudiba. Koyo Dungaji in Samjan Tela Dewa Mebade, Yande Cheikana, Ranjunam Jidumnam Shi.
So you have you have those who have the great desire for samsaric existence and have animosity towards Dharma, and then you have those that have the view of the self, and then the third category of beings who wish to abandon the sufferings of samsaric existence, but do not have the wish for seeking the welfare of others. So in that category, aversion or fear of having the aversion and fear of samsaric suffering, but lacking the thought seeking the welfare of others in this category, then you have the Shravakas and the Pratikas.
That tendogi Drivashiteta, Denji Kasaka Kona Chawara Mado, and a Tiba Chimbi, Lam the Draba Kunji, Bawachawa, but Jubache.
So these kind of differences are in relation to individual practitioners, as the differences in the individual practitioners. But with respect to abandoning all of this for those who are engaged in a minor path, the requirement to abandon all of these veils or obscurations is the same for all. So you have those who have fallen into the extreme of samsaric existence because of the desire for samsaric existence. And then you have those who have fallen into the extreme of nirvana's peace, in the case of those individuals who seek their own individual liberation's peace. So with understanding, knowledge, and wisdom, you do not remain in the extreme of samsara. By realizing the emptiness, the empty nature of all phenomena, then that wisdom doesn't allow for one to remain in the extreme of samsara. And it is compassion that which does not allow for one to remain in the extreme of nirvana's peace. Because of that compassion, feeling unbearably for the sufferings of sentient beings, then that compassion does not allow one to remain in nirvana's peace. And so these four obscurations or veils are abandoned, are gotten rid of through the through the antidote of the four qualities, basically, the devotion towards the supreme Dharma and so forth, wisdom, concentration, and compassion. the cause of purifying the above four obstructions or veils are the four aspects of the practices of special devotion to the great vehicle and so forth. So the four, the four veils are like those, the veil of just wishing cyclic existence, not wanting liberation. Then you have the second veil of wishing to be free of samsara, but falling into the extreme of nirvana. And then the third veil the third being those that do not wish, individuals that do not wish to fall into either of these two extremes of samsara or nirvana. So in the case of the Shravakas and the Pratikas, then although they have not fallen into the extreme of samsara, yet fallen into the extreme of nirvana. In the case of the first category, those of having great attachment, great desire, then falling into the extreme of samsara. In the case of the Arya Bodhisattvas, then they have both the wisdom and the compassion to stop both of these two extremes of extreme of samsara and extreme of nirvana's peace. The wisdom realizing emptiness, preventing the extreme of samsara, and the compassion which prevents the extreme of nirvana's peace. So this is just later on again will be mentioned more detailed.
So
the animosity towards the Dharma and is those who have views such as there is no such thing as liberation and so forth. And then you have the second in the case of second category, although there is the acceptance or belief that there is liberation, but having reversed themselves or turned their back on the path to attaining that liberation by having the view of the self. So I think we are now on verse 33, around verse 33. And Rinpoche, who's we're talking about, Chidan Rinpoche said,
Chidan Rinpoche yo maris. Do all tongri, right? Rishi koala yijun dang nyande la ane tanye ki lo jimini ba ki ane ta da kailen ba la so ba kashi la Rinpoche ki tanye taware mado.
So, for those, generally we say there is no such thing as, where someone's, lineage, Buddha lineage has been totally cut off. But kind of temporarily, sometimes then those who have the view of the self, who turn their back on liberation like that, then are temporarily experiencing a case of where the lineage is cut off. But there isn't such thing as a lineage being totally cut off. But while a person has that kind of view of the self, or turning the back on liberation, then temporarily has that cutting off of that lineage.
Surinji la yunirun zam yinayang, ana kasa ke dame rabat zamyang rishik tendu mirunga. Ane mirunga chimbe. Surim zam yinirun Surim yinirun zam yinayang, ane kasa ke dame tendu mirunga.
Like someone who has, who accepts and who's a suitable individual practicing, having the capacity to for the practice of morality, but not having the capacity or not having a mindset to train in the view, of the view, proper view, or like in other words, then holding on to the view of the self, living in morality but having the view of the self.
가사가다면 라바자 때도 미루와 아니 팀행이 내내라 현체니 아니 티정이 투바치베처럼 구웠다와 다 구웠단 게 배나 투바 멤버기 남바 임바라 체람냐마 부와저이나 체람모가 되어 줍제기다는 내마 부와저이나 가사가 두고 하리 따라봐 완전 두비 제고 다 두고 하리.
Then even though you are sort of you sort of identify yourself as a Buddhist, but having a view of the, gross self, the acceptance of a self, that which is, substantially existent, self-sufficient, substantially existent self. In amongst the 18, Hinayana schools, then there is Nemapua. There's one particular school, huh? No, there's Nemapo. I don't know the Sanskrit term, but they have the acceptance of this gross acceptance of that gross self, substantially existent self, and also totally deny Mahayana teachings.
최탐제 동시 담에 봐. 아니 이제 탐제 미다봐. 사제 탐제 동아와. 최탐제 동시 담에 봐. 양알을 대와 시와스니 개량고거리.
Generally to sort of define yourself as being a Buddhist, then you have to accept the 4 Buddhist seals, or these 4 distinct Buddhist viewpoints that all composite phenomena are impermanent. Everything that which is contaminated is suffering, and all phenomena are empty and therefore selfless, and nirvana is peace. So the acceptance of these 4 Buddhist seals, or these 4 distinct views, acceptance of this is what usually defines you as being a Buddhist.
아니 캐르름부치기 최지다 캐렘비 땡도 가사기 다 캐랑나 number Sanjay Titama Majoro was a Sungari.
Chigita Kele.
So that Kelly between do Asakita Kelena. Number Sanjay Titama Majoro.
So, according to Kedru Rinpoche, then he says that if you accept the self of phenomena on the basis of accepting the self of a person, then you do not have even the smell of being a Buddhist, scent of being a Buddhist.
Oh yeah, then that and that Chiramawa Dujogi, Cheta Kelly and Barry, Rado, that Kazak dark said, Hazan Dadela, Charani, Charasiganata, Oma Dudikana. Dachi Rawanji da Kazak Dachi da, Ranja to be Dachi Niche. Namabu Devake, Dachi Rawanji da Tomba de Kelly, Ranja to be Tomba de Camel, Ranja to be Datu Truba Kelly.
So, in the case of the Vaibhashkins, as proponents of the Vaibhashkan school, they accept the self of a phenomena. With regards to the self of a person, then the self of a person is differentiated into a self, a subtle and a gross version of the self of the person. In the case of the Nemapua, that particular school of they accept that the emptiness of a self that which is permanent, single, and independent. That emptiness of that self they accept, but they do not accept the emptiness of a self of a person that which is self-sufficiently, substantially existent. That they do not accept. So this way, you have, with regards, of course, as Vaibhashkans, you don't accept the self of a phenomenon, but with regards to self of a person, you differentiate into gross and self. And one is, the emptiness of the permanent, single, independent self, the other being self-sufficient, substantially existent self. So this Nemapua, they accept the emptiness of the permanent, single, independent self, but they do not accept the emptiness of a self-sufficient, substantially existent self.
Landage in Aksha. And the last of about the Dewi, Yamabaki, Kasa, John Mishum, John Midumbaki, Kasa, Kashiki, Moro, and a Dadu Yaba so much Gogo at it. Dadu Yaba so much.
When the Buddha taught, then for some disciples, they have that kind of mental disposition that if the Buddha were to totally teach on the basis that there is no self, then for some disciples it's very difficult to explain away the application of karma, cause and effect, an individual accumulating the karma and an individual accepting and an individual experiencing the result of that karma. Even the workings of the karma, it becomes difficult for them to apply.
When is a Kasa taking more? Dadang, Dagabadang, Dadu to a temper eating and a Dadu to a temper, the 10 chit to a indang, 10 chill to a indang. Ani Dadan Dagiwa, Dadan Dame, but temper eating nane, no much short to some Bashino, say, so a indang, Dadu temper Casa, Dadu to a temper, you what that dogo, Indan Dadu to a tangy, Dati, Dati, I want you to because the Dutch don't want to do so. My Ranja to be said to true. Dutch don't want to do it. Don't want to kill.
So, in the face of such individuals, then the Buddha was able to see that for them it was much more beneficial to talk about a self than to totally negate a self. And so for such individuals, then what the Buddha taught was the emptiness of a self which is permanent, single, and and independent, but that there was a self which was self-sufficient, substantially existent.
Oh, those check. That's it. That is Sibadabadi check. That time I imbala shua, that tabla shua said, time I imbala shua, tala shua, say, Gana, Kansan, Yiche, Gana, you were telling
So the first category, you have those who have the wish for samsaric existence, with those with great desire, and then the second, who are engaged in that which is not a method.
That Tawadan, Japan, you go on, any Tayugonam, any Chetivala Chiro to draw, Jibugon and Chiro to Chua de la Chetivala Chiro to Jua, and it's Chirowa to check.
So in the Tawa Gonegen Kansuma.
Chengaji TV Ondolo Kua Deva. Chengaji TV Ondolo Kua Dengagi, Kasatu Sha.
So in the case of the second category, that who are engaged in that which is not a method, then you have with respect to the view and with respect to the conduct, the view of denying the existence of past and future lives and so forth like that, having views of such a kind.
And
then you have also individuals who accept higher rebirth, higher rebirth and so forth, but totally deny liberation, are also categorized as those who engaged in a non-method.
All the Tajunga Shua and the Tibarisha. What is Shiro the Tumba Chetinila Tabaya, the Tomba Nitella, Anokoa Chigilo, the Timbase, Dame, Ranja to be Zaid to Zaid Meba Dam, Ranja to be Zaid Mebayang, Mata, Ranja to be Zaid to Ata, Rashi to Ayatawa.
So having the view of intrinsic existence, innate existence, having the view of substantial, self-sufficient, substantially existent self.
That Kasa somebody Neluji Tatuba Kondo Machi Shindu Kondo Chito Yambi Mumbing Maja Tombani the Demba Shamba Tony the Demba Shamba.
And then and then you have the third category of individuals who wish to kind of realize the ultimate mode of existence of phenomena, but hold on to a view of emptiness, that which is truly existent. Emptiness as being truly existent.
Tony la Demba Shamba, so Mirumi Tawajan. Or de Cheganata, the Legima Chegana. Tamaimba should be Tamaimba Shuba de Che. That they can say. That Tabla Shuba number ye, Tabla Shuba de la Ani Yendi Chibata Tumbatan. Kasada Chela Dame, Yendi Ranja knew de Kasada Chela Dame, but only Kondo Chichin. Tonanton and Muslim Doba, Yandavani, Shuba, say, that Tabla Shuba de Lun de la Paber Kasaira, and he Chetam de Rashim, but Toba Jing, you have to go over it. Chetam de Rashim, but Toby, Tony Muslim, Tony Matona, Denzin.
So, for those who are classified as beings who are engaged in the method, then would have to be those Arya beings who seek to realize the non-inherent existence of all phenomena. without this realization of the emptiness or the non-inherent existence, intrinsic existence of all phenomena, then it's not possible to get rid of the delusion and the ignorance grasping at the self. 단대 파베 가사데 추탐제를 심해봐 떠고
어때 탑라시와 년도다 라산제데 탑라쇼에데 녀몸에 집어 뽕하게 탑 아니 원용어 좀 셔럽다 담바 인사 탑라슈바.
So such hearers and solitary realizers who are engaged in such a method of method that is able to abandon the delusions, the afflictions through directly generating the realization of emptiness by being able to generate that wisdom, realizing emptiness directly, is what is able to get rid of the obscuration of the afflictions.
Oh yeah, Digi Yerala, and it's Chetanita, Muslim to Yabati to
So this establishes the fact that Shravakas and Pratikas have the direct insight into the truth.
That day, and Siban Debadan, Sibadan Trawa Debadan, Igam Mudibe Kasa, Dejambadan, Datu Tawadan. Oh, the Digi Jibatella, Denida, Shishaba Tajun Honda Shabana, Shin Chani. That Jibatella, Yambote, that Shagambari.
For those who seek samsaric existence, who Siba Devata Kanso again.
Siba Devata. Siba Tenta Sendi Siba Tovare, Siba Deva, the Koi Deva Deva, Siba Deva Asgari. All a tungu giri.
Siba Debatang,
Siba Debatang, Siba Midebatang, Iga Midebas.
Iga Midebas.
The lesson, Siba Deva, the Koi Deva, Siba Deva.
They get some characteristics.
De Kansa Sumbotegi, Ani Ribatella Tribashi.
So you have these three categories of beings. The first category of beings who wish cyclic existence, the second category of beings who do not wish cyclic existence but wish for liberation, and then the third category of beings who do not wish for either of these two, both samsara and nirvana, and then you all of these three categories of beings have these four obstructions or veils that they need to overcome.
대신비 대신인 드바 되기 아니 대신비 드바 티바치베 쳐라 다음에 티바치베 쳐라 다음에 년보대 가르래 sana 년보인바 쳐라 다음에 년보인바 강기 대신이 쳐라 매와티.
So what are the antidote to these four obstructions or veils, being the animosity to the Dharma, the view of self, fear of samsara suffering, and the neglect of the wealth of sentiments, these four. So what are the antidote to this is, first is the devotion, the great devotion towards the Mayana Dharma. That great devotion towards the Mayana Dharma is an antidote for that animosity towards the Dharma. Is an antidote for those who seek out samsaric existence.
안 대신지 지바 집에 쳐라 당윈 연보인바 강기 연보인바 대신도 다 장주선바 남지 셰럽지 바로를 침바 광바대 돈유 광바대 현 아니 무대chen 남지 지바 탐자 가사가 다도 다와 되게 연보래
So the devotion towards the Mahayana Dharma is an antidote for those individuals with the mind of great desire, meaning attachment to samsaric existence, and for those who have great animosity towards the Mahayana Dharma. Then this devotion to the Supreme Vehicle is the antidote. The Bodhisattvas who meditate upon the realization of emptiness, the perfection of wisdom, then this is an antidote to the view of the self, the titikas or the outsiders' view of the self.
강근연보 장주선반 남지 아니 나가절라 소위 띵해지 다 돈이도 비 로이 도잖아 샤이와리 뒤주 나가저 띵해진데 간제 나가절라 소위 띵해지 원바지 아니 코이 동아진 집안 년대 남지 집아 그러와 년대 남지 집아 그냥보
So and the bodhisattvas who generate that that concentration like the treasury of space, like the treasury of space concentration, then that concentration is an antidote to samsaric existence, an antidote to the obscurations of the Shravakas and the Pratikas.
코알라 타지도 저자진 아니 지보 코알라 타비된도 아니 전데 삼전현 때문에도 돌아왔더니 연보다 대인 말이.
So for the Shravakas and the Pratikas who fear for only their own individual suffering of samsaric existence and therefore seek out only their own individual liberation and have no thought to seek the welfare of others, then this concentration is an antidote.
다 강빈 여보 자주 선반 남지 저완이지 전부 공부하니 라산제지 특바 다 라산제지 특바당 년도지 특바니 뭐데 룬디 가수 안에 가서에 랑그 자주 터발라 안에 가완자 초착고 뭐그 관에 샤바마도 따와당 안에 방자당 안에 톱자라 토메기 제바메 아이 말에 방자당 이라 방지 따와당 따와는 토메기 제바메 아이 말에 방지 조당 톱지 조 따와라 방자도 고세기 따와당 검지 조당 방지를 조를 제바메 아이 말에
And for the bodhisattvas who meditate upon that compassion, then this compassion acts as an antidote to the interests of the Shravakas and the Pratikas. Here in this particular tradition, then you do not differentiate with regards to the view and the abandonment. You do not differentiate between usually you differentiate levels of abandonment and the levels of view like that, but here there is no differentiation of view or what is to be abandoned.
안에 삼정을 되나 믿어봐. 다 예라다 지봐. 예산 텐다와 그 지봐 15 대당. 안에 연보 매와 돈이 되비 셔럽 빙의지 인제 천이 다 도시 맞아. 아주 하바 매와서 소비치니 남시니 제 다들 말을 참가자 그 아래.
So here here the obstructions of the the obstructions of a pratyeka are that of the veil of a pratyeka are that of not taking the responsibility for the well-being of sentient beings, turning their back on sentient beings like that. These sorts of veils or obstructions that are to be abandoned is the same. So each one of these four veils obstructions then correlates with one particular antidote, like of the four antidotes. First being the devotion to the minor. So beginning with the devotion to the minor dharma, then you apply you establish the root of that path, which is compassion, and through the cause and result of that path, then you generate bodhicitta, and then generate the calm abiding and the special insight, and on the basis of this, then complete the antidote to the objects of the abandonment.
Oh yeah, then you do tela, and it is so part of the chimba, one of my shit hungura, Samada. Or Samada, so a part of chimba number taba, Yushibo did that. Then by Yushibo that the Chelameva la so Yushibo Teta, then bay, and the Satambo la sowagi, Satambo Tishi, Lusukiwala Sowa. So,
by generating these antidotes, these four antidotes, or you can also say these four causes, the aspiration to, the devotion to the mind, dharma, and so forth. These four causes or these four antidotes, and as a result, then you have these four qualities. The purity of the self, happiness and permanence, and in this way, then one is born into the bodhisattva's lineage, attaining the first bhumi.
That kind of situation, Sana. I need Tajang Chimana, Tijola, Messabe Sherami, Sanja Church Mother, Sandenda, Devangan, Ninja Mamaja, Kanitini, Tuba Jeji said it, Gilama Titi, that's when you got it. So, I just have a member of Soviet and I'm see. I need to join me,
so, just like as stated this morning, then those who have the seed, which is the devotion to the supreme vehicle, and the mother, which is the wisdom giving birth to the Buddha qualities. The womb, which is the bliss of concentration, and the nurse, which is the compassion, are the bodhisattva's children born from the mind of the subduer. So this devotion to the Mayana vehicle is like the seed to be reborn, like a seed to be reborn as a Chakravartin king.
돈이 도비 셔럽데 아니 산제 그 최제발 제발게 마단자와
So the wisdom realizing emptiness, which is supported by the extensive practices of the method of compassion, extensive method of compassion supported by such a compassion, then this wisdom is what brings forth, is what gives rise or gives birth to all the qualities of Buddhahood. So this wisdom is like the mother which gives birth to all the qualities of Buddhahood.
파니 탑라 개와이 많이 셔라 바로 침바 인자리 와 파디 탑대다 파단자와 마대다 가존 돈이 도비 셔라데 마단자와 와 돈이 도비 셔라데 티jen지 타바 되니기 로지단 dro나 아니 티jen기 타바 타바 돈이 도비 셔라데 란자기 타바 되니기 로단 dro나 란자기 타바 타바 돈이 도비 셔라데 아니 가서래 년대기 타바 되니도 단도 되나 년대기 타바 타바 그러마 마릭시안지라 아니 가서래 파체천的파현的看先看当只有一个了特了普特的的叫那新建的马的写了就跑入去把它马单扎哇你就全部个事情听见了安尼唱提前去他把托蛮多当你都被写了你就去被新鲜了当你都被告诉提前给他把托蛮的没办法安尼怕他扎哇怕你他把开哇马你写了跑入去才对吧的I don't
know which verse it is, but the verse that mentions about the father being like the method and that the mother is the wisdom realizing emptiness. So if this mother likened to that wisdom realizing emptiness, when it is supported by the altruism of Mahayana and the wish to attain the state of liberation of the Mahayana path, then that wisdom in association with the Mahayana motivation then brings the Mahayana liberation. And when that wisdom realizing emptiness is supported by the intention, by the motivation of a solitary realizer, then the solitary realizer's liberation is attained. When that wisdom realizing emptiness is supported by the intention or motivation of a hero's vehicle, then the liberation that which is attained is on the hero's path.
So
the wisdom realizing emptiness is the common cause for all of these three vehicles attainment of enlightenment. The enlightenment of the Shravaka vehicle, Pratyeka vehicle, and the Mahayana vehicle. So in that respect, it is like the mother.
Oh yeah, that tamni ina mata uche. Tamni pade ane kase puti ki tumo mayimbe ani riji juimba na shinchani. Ane tijen tumo mayimbe tamni ane tumo mayimbe juimbe ane kaso.
And the method is like the unique cause. So just like when children are born of a particular race of the father, then accordingly, the children follow after that race of that particular father. In the same way, then when that method is that of the Mahayana path, then that unique method of the Mahayana path is what becomes the cause for bringing forth the Mahayana enlightenment.
아니 난가 줘서 수비 띵이 진지 뒤위 다 삼den기 대와 대와대 나다 빼자니 삼den 뒤위 안에 나와당
And where like the concentration and the treasury of space like concentration, that blissful state is compared to that of the womb of a mother.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know. But then, you mama jandi, you the mama jan, taught a person to catch.
And then the compassion is likened to that of a nurse. The compassion that which is important from the beginning, middle, and end.
간제전이 제일로도 편조도 우미나라 숨바 나시 전이 아니 토마 가치와 사변단자와 파도 가치와 출리단자와 타마 가치와 도민바단자와 소나시 전이
As stated in the Madhyamika, how compassion is important in the beginning, like the seed, important in the middle, like the water and manure, and important to the very end in allowing for the ripening of the result.
Oh, Tonda Paso, Injete, and the Casore. You should be labor, Gambi, and you give Kayan Bate, and you to be Jesuit TV, says Chow, so I think about it.
So, this compassion, which is beginning from, which is important from very beginning, middle, and the end, are what allows for the Bodhisattva children to be born from the mind of the subduer.
That tender in Mewate, Sidam Mewasena, Casore, Mewani, Tibachibi chicken della tabi taba in body, Tami Taba. Mewatela and Tibachibi chicken della Tami Taba. Unde Taba, Iji Taba, Chegana, Sumi Binane, of the Iji Taba Cheba.
So, when we talk about this kind of devotion towards the Mahayana Dharma, the devotion here is referring to having faith. And so there are three different types of faith: just pure and simple faith, then faith, and then you have the second kind of faith which allows for, because you see a kind of faith that you have in which you aspire to have the qualities, attain the qualities that you have faith in. And then the third kind of faith is the faith that comes about because of the trust and the belief. So here, when we talk about the devotion to the Mahayana Dharma, is the faith, third kind, faith that is rooted in one's trust and belief.
And
So therefore, first and foremost, we have to generate faith in the Mahayana Dharma. So when we have that kind of faith in the Mahayana Dharma, then this faith acts as the condition inspiring us to attain all the causes and results of that Mahayana Dharma. And then on the basis of this, then one establishes the roots of compassion, which seeks to free all sentient beings from suffering. And in order to achieve this, then seeing that one has absolutely no choice other than to become enlightened for this to happen. So this giving rise to, this compassion giving rise to that kind of altruistic aspiration to attain enlightenment for the welfare of sentient beings.
어 dumba 대마체 조장 천지 그 dum바체 변에 림지 티바치미 시라기 송제지 등의 양수 랑발라 때네 아니 말시아바기 대전라 소비 드바타다 좀바타다 영야지 다 좀바 영야 투신바데 자
So on the basis of this kind of altruism to attain enlightenment for the welfare of sentient beings, then you actualize, the calm abiding and the special. You generate you work towards actualizing the calm abiding, the Mahayana calm abiding and the special insight, and this is what acts as an antidote to the four types of veils or obstructions, like like the animosity toward the Dharma and so forth.
대안 안에 가르래서나 chanjusambo ambo nombo다 두 니예빈 안에 chanjusambo ambo 두기 람드주도 타다테 나신체니 해봐 아니 dumba 대야 도치네 도시네 다 돈이도 좀 마시도 야 저거 아니면 chanju 그 셈기비 오도 안에 돈이 또비 제럽지에 chanju ambo 두비 람드주 그 왕도 채나 가서 아니 주비도讲的是让他特别检查我作为长久审结的特别读书让下的天天让他写作证这里那边希望是我们应该说那些钱呢让他特别检查去的是一个王都特别检查去
So,
是吧让他特别作为长久审结呢是等让他不让他这长久审结天呢So, the
way in which for the bodhisattvas of the highest capacity or the highest intelligence and bodhisattvas of lesser capacity or intelligence, that the way they progress on the path is slightly different. So what was just explained is the progression of the path for a bodhisattva of lesser intelligence or capacity, which means first and foremost generating great faith in the minor dharma. On the basis of that, then generating the wish to aspiration to actualize all of the qualities or knowledge of that minor path, through compassion, and then what was just explained, the calm abiding and special insight, and on the basis of that generating bodhicitta, and then after that generating the wisdom, realizing emptiness. So for those in the case of bodhisattvas of higher capacity or intelligence, they first examine whether attaining enlightenment is a possibility or not. They examine that first. And so on the basis of that, then examining what are the obstacles, what is obstructing the attainment of enlightenment. And when they find that it is the grasping at the truly existent self together with its imprints, then they examine to see whether these can be abandoned or not. Is the individual capable of abandoning or not? And so then working to abandon this ignorance, grasping at the truly existent self, through generating the wisdom, realizing selflessness, and through continual meditation on this, then generating that realization that is capable of abandoning the grasping at the self from its very imprints. So in the case of such bodhisattvas of higher capacity or intelligence, then they go about generating the wisdom, realizing emptiness first, and then follow that up with seeking to generating the bodhicitta, seeking the welfare of the sentient beings' enlightenment.
단인지 전부 기디가는 semja 동아지 나와라 미세비 인지 제 동아지 나와라 미세비 인지 제와자 마제 동아단 차와 따라라기 차오 냠바기 하삼제 대다 콘도 제발라 때나다 하삼제니 동아라 차와 제발라 동아란 차와데 랑라 대자 니와 메바이자 니와 술라 요아레 사나 아니 끼는 군사다 연대 군단 댐바가 나는 바양다 바이소 산제유 코나리 여바 셰베 아니 대다 콘도 치발라 되네 semja 탐제기 되는 산제 톱고와데 또 그래
So there is a verse in reference to this point, but just said he didn't have time to look for that particular verse. But here, the point is that for the bodhisattvas, generating first and foremost compassion, and then generating the extraordinary supreme thought of that ultimate sense of responsibility for sentient beings. And so for the means of for such a method, for such a means of progression on the path, then first and foremost generating the compassion which feels unbearably for the sufferings of sentient beings, and therefore wishes to free all sentient beings from suffering, and generating that extraordinary supreme thought which takes the complete responsibility for this to happen, and then realizing that although one has taken the responsibility for freeing all sentient beings from suffering, then oneself doesn't have the capacity to do that. And so upon examining, who has that capacity, what has that capacity, who has that capacity, then finding that it is only in the state of perfect and complete enlightenment, completed in all the knowledge and qualities, free of all the failings and mistakes, in that unsurpassable, perfect and complete state of enlightenment, there is that capacity to free all sentient beings from suffering. And so therefore, then wanting to attain that state of perfect enlightenment in order to fulfill that responsibility.
돈이扩大제와 또와라니 semja 탐제지 된도 산제 톱니바 또바 센다 기름 다리를 소아리 돈이扩다제다 톱고기에나 다 톱니삼 미니 세제바 제디가라 토발라 다 톱제기 파주제바기 덴징 본니선 미니 제바 차이가라 아니 덴징기래 현율라리 내제야바 덴징 텔라 내제기 아니 참아여봐 점적이 참아여봐 참아도 권에 권도 펴와라 때네 아니 딘진 지중도 순대 탈 딘진 댄서 봐서 여봐도 또디 잠바 돈이 또디 잠바 돈이扩大제바 또 와라니 semja 탐제기 그 산제 톱니바 또 와 세니 또 소하이 말이
So first and foremost realizing that it is absolutely necessary to attain that perfect and complete state of enlightenment, and then examine to see whether one has the capacity. One has already realized that one has to actualize perfect and complete state of enlightenment to fulfill that responsibility. Then next is to see whether one is capable of attaining that enlightenment or not, which is basically cannot generate the wisdom, realizing emptiness or not. What are the obstacles to generating that wisdom, realizing emptiness? Which the obstacle is the grasping at the self, Denzin, grasping at true existence, and destroying the objects of that grasping, destroying the objects of that grasping, and for that, then for this to happen, then generating the valid state of mind, which is able to do that. The valid states of mind, which is able to destroy the objects of the ignorance grasping at the self. When this valid mind becomes more and more and more powerful, then the ignorance grasping at the self becomes lesser and lesser and lesser.
Oh, ani tegi tome ten di la pa ne si tanda sheba de la pa ne ani ambo nembo gi tabatam tenye gi lo je wa la yang tong yu to ba on de zhuo xie wa chao sia ri
So
de ta jing de na xin ji taba tenye gi lo je de ga la taba to ni mi ni jia ba che taba to ba la ani ta jing na xin chen ni taba to ba la pa de jia ba ge den zhe bang go go de wo de ten na xin chen ni ten di la pa ne ambo nembo gi tabatam tenye ji lo je wa la yang tong yu to ba on de song wa xie wa chao.
So, based on these reasonings, then for the bodhisattvas of the highest capacity of intellect, then even to attain for attaining liberation or enlightenment, then they go about first and foremost generating the wisdom, realizing emptiness, starting off from examining the capacity for such an attainment or not, whether such an attainment is possible or not, what are the obstacles to such an attainment, identifying those obstacles as the grasping at the self and working towards abandoning or destroying the objects of these grasping at the self. So based on this, then you would have to say for the bodhisattvas of highest capacity in intellect, then when they take refuge, that refuge has to be preceded by the wisdom realizing emptiness. So bodhisattvas of the highest intellect or capacity, for them to accept the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha as the perfect ultimate objects of refuge, then they will only commit themselves to such objects of refuge based on logic and reasonings, and through the analysis of like the valid cognitive states of mind. So it's only in the case of those of lesser intelligence or lesser capacity who make commitments to objects of refuge without examination. So we having completed the nature or the essence and cause, and then now is the result and the endowment. The four causes that purify the element which is in the 4 causes in devotion to Maya and Dhamma. These 4 causes, upon purifying the element, what are the results attained from that purification is the perfection of the qualities of purity, self, bliss, and permanence. Verse 34. So this is like briefly explaining that as a result, that these 4 purity, self, bliss, and permanence are the results of the application of the causes, the 4 causes of beginning with the devotion to the Maya vehicle and so forth, that which purifies the element. The next part is, what is the function of having the Buddha? What is the function of having the Buddha lineage? The propensity for. What is the function of having the disposition for one's enlightenment in the Buddha lineage? And the function, that function is the bringing about of the aversion for the suffering of cyclic existence, and the aspiration as well as the wish to attain the peace of nirvana.
Oh yeah, then is quiet dunga, not Messiba Kondo Chine, now not Messiba Penny, or Kondo Chine, and no quarter that Dunga Jirashing to Castle. That's the Tone, and it Dungala is Junshi, Siwanyang Island Devada, Dumbatang, Tanya Dubatavata, and Tabar Chuchi, Tabar Chow, Yambagi, and it I remember legend, those young going body.
So, seeing the suffering nature of samsaric existence, feeling completely averse by it, feeling unbearable, and generating the mind of definite emergence from such a state, and so, and thereby turning to attain liberation. Wanting to attain liberation, wishing to actualize that.
That and Dodank to share the Ghana. That and the Tanda Damaji, and then Parachumba take you, so I take it. Tanda Deta Danaji, and then Parachumba Dre, said the Tatma, said to Gala, to Simbari. Casa, Teda Dani, Dotena, Chijukula, Chinjilo, number she. Chijukula, Chijilo, number she and Boba, Yambi Rab to Chavani. Desungari.
So, in brief, the fruits of these 4 causes, devotion to the great vehicle and so forth, are attainments of the 4 qualities distinguished as the purity and so forth, i.e., self, bliss, and permanence, and through being antidotes that are opposite to the 4 erroneous aspects, impurity and so forth, with respect to the truth body.
The point, Yamboni, Yamboki, and a palmy Jabute, Josia, Jonguara, come to do it. In that Chijilo de la Candide, Sana, Kunzo de Lula Chijilo Batang, turned up with the Lula Chijilaba.
So, what are the erroneous aspects? The error in relation to the conventional realities, and error with respect to ultimate realities.
So, in
error error in relation to conventional realities is holding on to something that which is actually impure as pure, holding on to what is actually suffering as happiness, what is actually selfless as self, and what is actually impermanent as permanent, like that.
因此，弥达巴真比落地当真的真当我所搞啊。
So, the mind which apprehends impermanence is an antidote to the error of seeing permanence.
我现在天道有长的大道都真比真把太大，按理卡说的，弥达巴真，恐怖弥达巴所说真把太来，落七级老都先把，正当七级老都先把印章。 正当七级老都准备，按照处于老些银版印章，我国七级老是真正银版的。
So, holding on to these aggregates, which are in fact impermanent as being permanent, is what is the mistake? What is the error? Tas.
나서.
Tas.
아니, 지금 제가 그래서 좀.
맞아요.
야. 나더니 가서 다다 친지로도 신바 세례 나는 남주디 이 동아대비 체질이 시위 라슈 시워들이 와 동아대 받라 체질이 시위 라슈 시워리 미다발라 다바쯤 봐 동아라 대바쯤 봐 미상마라 땅마쯤 봐 아니 나도 맞으라 나도 좋아쯤 봐.
For example, in relation to the noble truth or true suffering, in relation to you have these four mistakes. What is actually impure, then grasping onto it as being pure. What is suffering as what in fact is suffering, then holding as happiness, or what in fact is non-self-existence as self-existence. What in fact is impermanent as being permanent. These four errors that are associated with the true suffering, noble truth of true suffering.
我印象看七级老七级老多少的，安尼工作有对路的了七级老，对路了七级老是上万印象，工作了对比，去工作了对比七级老是样个，没大巴当，大没巴当，他是大的。 对路的看说的，对路的工作用我了七级老都就把人家去工作了对不起七级老。
So making this four types of error in relation to conventional basis, holding on to what is impermanent as permanent, what is suffering as happiness, what is non-self existence as self, what is impure as pure. So these are on conventional basis then making these four errors, four types of error.
Oh yeah. Dini ta dame raba demba zimba de demba shemba de 전단을 대비 대체 dame raba demba zimba de 전단을.
So holding as truly existent, the gross selflessness, holding as truly existent, truly existent, the gross selflessness is the error in relation to absolute reality.
바로 침바디 메와당 셰랍당 띵에진다 이제다 제비 규시 림바시 샤마타비 레브 코름텔란 도들이 바차고 소다와다 레우 카레를 추구 답이 바로 침바 내위 바로 침바 나그 바로 침바 땅이 바로 침바
So 그냥 같이 컨트롤 같이 들려나서 자와 가지고
땅이 바로 침바요
자와데 가득가득 숨겨게
다 담보 추구 답이 바로 좀 다 고도도 시작하래 대신 안에 땅데 바로 좀 바로 봐 마체도 가나 답이 바로 좀 담보 시작하고 하래
Is it verse 36? Because that truth body is naturally pure from the start, and because the adventitious defilements as well as the predispositions are abandoned, these possessions of the two types of purity is a perfection of purity. And di tanda shulo ka tanda di wo da sumra.
제우 그 레어라 텐데 딜
제부.
dindamen bi na je du den tenye rangxin taji다 바자 방지 장완이 다다다
And because of the elaborations of the conceptions of self imputed by the foreders and of the selfless conceived by the hearers and so forth have been pacified, is this perfection of holy self.
Oh yeah. 인당단에 두수지 송기도아 추구답이 바로 침바 내일 바로 침바 다그 바로 침바 장이 바로 침바 시체디 고름텔라단에 위 고름을 더 원에 채비 저희는 시체 단위와 장이 바로 침바되라 티바 침비 철라메비 귀단자디 샤발랑 샤바단 다탐비 바로 침바 시중군비 저우담바 저와탐비 바로 침바 삼대군비 저우담바
Okay. So the perfection of Zangbe Paru Chimba Khartin Gorsumake.
Zangbe Paru to Tiba Chimbi Chela maybe Judaja Shaba.
Tiba Chimbi Chula Mebe by Tiba Chimbi Chula Mebe Karisuma.
Judaja Shaba. Today.
By explaining the first, which is the perfection of purity, then it correlates to the minor path in conjunction with its causes. And then by explaining the perfection of the self, then showing the result of the perfection of wisdom. And by explaining the perfection of the bliss or happiness, then showing the result of the concentration. And by explaining the perfection of permanence, then showing the result of meditating on compassion.
Mudiwa Taki, Yaba Mayimba, Tatu Timbala, Omba Kawala, Done, 가사다 풍부 라시지 주어 두자면 매번 무슨 되게 싫어지 파도 집어 겁나 저거 가사다 취지 저와 타다 그 예비 대단히 추 담바 나 담비 파도 집어 토그레스 그래서
다 담배 바로 침바
이완례 풍부하고 다라스
다 담배 바로
자신이 풍부하고 다
the perfection of the self. The perfection of the self, how that is attained, is through meditating on through generating the meditation on the perfection of wisdom in relation to the contaminated appropriate aggregates. In relation to this. 사진 옆에 풍부를 때니 시르기 바로 침보 건버려지나
사진이 풍부 나 다라 가사다 취지 다도 다와 현 무디바 대다게 가사 취도 다거라 무디바 타게 다와 무디바 타게 여바 많이 봐 다도 쯤발라 엄마 가위 아니 엄마 가와 텔란 도네 가사다 풍부라시 뭐 두자매 봐 무슨 것도 있지
So, in relation to these contaminated appropriate aggregates, then you have the grasping in relation to this. Then, in relation to this base, you have the grasping at the self of phenomena and the grasping at the self of the person in relation to the aggregates. So, when one is able to realize the non-inherent existence of this grasping with regards to the aggregates in relation to phenomena, in relation to the self, and in generating the direct realization of that emptiness, then that is what brings the result of the perfection of the self.
이 연구 쇼지마 가소리 가사 시워테다마 잔이 셔기도와 야 대지 가산다 거기 뭐 녀리고 공부 너 주다탄 파를 침바래 단이와 대라 네가 뭐디 봐 시안 탐자니 아니 술라서와 덴루다 가사라서와 덴루다 라완도 추바 증거와래 라완도 추바티 라신 마이비 오 덴루도 캘레라 라완도 추바 마이바게 오 덴루도 추바 캘레바 대다게 지다 나도 수비 오 태양 지다 숭하다 매바 숭하다 나게 천이당 루아단 덴비시 뒤에 참제도 가사게 다 최지다 매도 세다 되기 된다 가르쳐 버렸으나 대승교사리 대신에 왜한다고 지다와 지다 이제지 다 너와 답이 바로 다음에 봐 답이 바로 침바 다 답이 바로 침바 봐 다음에 봐 답이 바로 침바
then the 다음에 봐 바로
침바 다음에 봐 답이 바로 침바
the perfection of the perfection of the selflessness. The perfection of the selflessness is referred to when, in the case of non-Buddhists who hold on to the self, truly existent form, truly existent person, then just as how they grasp onto truly existent person, truly existent form like that, then realizing that just as how they have apprehended or grasped onto that, they do not exist the way it is apprehended, and so realization of that, the non-existence of that, is the perfection of the selflessness. 다음에 배파르침바. 다음에
답이 바로 침바 예라스. 지다와 침비 이시디 시비 지다르 시비 다음에 바태야 가사다 취지 나 세자를 해봐 마인비 생이지 산제지 냠샤기 지다와 오유 내누수 주와 최남지 란신테다 밀루와 댐비지 뒤에 탐제도 내누다 란신 당이도 되도 세다트 가르스나 내누 지다와스나 남진지 시바다 낭주다 내서 tum바인바인다 시다왔을거래.
So knowing exactly here then is whatever is perceived by an enlightened mind, where the mode in which it exists and the way in which it is perceived is the same is the same. The way in which it exists, the reality, the mode in which it exists, and the way in which it is perceived as such is that is the mode of seeing of an enlightened mind, an omniscient mind.
인자 다탐비 파로 침바사는 다탐비 천시라 산제지 지다와 침비 이시지 시비 안에 다음에 다음에 받더라. 다시 저거 말해. 봐. 다탐비 천시야. 그 마인바 안에 최다 최지다 나바 제장 마인바게 안에 누가 라고 말을 믿어 봐. 다든지 최다음에 참을 돼. 딘바 진디.
So when we talk about the perfection of the self is referring to that realization of the subtle selflessness, where there isn't any kind of notion of any kind of independent existence.
다더니 내가 담이 바로 심바세디 말이 바자지 세 레부이지라신지 세버 빵바 사바메 비다와 다지 가르레에서나 말이 바자게 사다 삼매지 내려되네 일이 랭겐데라 가르샤고레서나 사탐보네 안에서 주요 바지 차선 파바탕 아니 예란데다 니엄바 세바바비 예란 자존바데다 깨와렘비잖아 다 랭령이 깨와 마임바 말이 바자게서다 삼매게 내려되네 깨와친 랭교아리 그러와 인상 달라지도와 뱀이 바로 춤바서 말이 바자지 사이 대부 유지랑신지 리사바 빵바네 빵배 사바메 비대와고 세래
말이 바자게 세
바자지사
세 이기류
유지랑신지
류 빵바
말이 바자게 사당 삼매게 내려되네 유지랑신지 리사바 빵배.
So the perfection of bliss refers to the abandonment of all birth on the grounds of maripachasa, grounds of having the imprints of the ignorance on the grounds of the imprints of ignorance and the abandonment of the yigiren chiglu pangbas mari yigiren chiglu pangba mari phajase
주 말이 바자지 사다 삼매게 내려 때네 춘 유리의 빵배
so
아니 대화 담에 바로 치마
the mental body which is abandoning the mental body which is attained as a result of the grounds of the imprints of ignorance and samen uncontaminated seas. Those are bodhisattvas who have abandoned all of that.
这里是这样，既然结瓦得了，两人就往个结瓦，我们就往个结瓦，三心的结瓦两把事，结瓦马不要是吧？是吧？但两人就往个结瓦生的，马上说结的两人往个结瓦之前，是吧？但全球三八人就干了，啥准备看起全球三八当，两人个结瓦帮根给也让咱全把这个结瓦人的三八看着结果也是呢。一级上星期六年就可能三星期结完两把四个万的，但连结完连这个有的可能也是呢，马里爬下去杀，马里把马里爬下去杀是呢，马里别下把给爬下去了，提前。
So I was just asking Rinpoche to clarify when we take rebirth, you take rebirth due to karma, due to prayer, an intentional rebirth. our rebirth is like due to karma. In the case of bodhisattvas or Shravakas or Pratikas, who are not those who are being reborn intentionally, then they are born from what is known as from the imprints of the ignorance on the born. It's not a delusion, but it's the imprints of that ignorance. Maripacha sati imprints laid by the ignorance, but it's not ignorance. So it's due to the imprints of those ignorance and as well as the prayer Maripachakis Sata and Molam the uncontaminated karma is that imprint of those ignorance and the motivation that arises out of that imprint is uncontaminated karma.
Tommy Maribada Chesumba de Maripachasa. You want to take a lecture on Chetumbadella, Ane Sami Gile, Gunong Draws or Tramote. What any that Terasa Tabizamba, Anes Castle, something
in the case of our ordinary karmic rebirth, then you have ignorance, then second link of the karmic formations, and this karma is sort of brought into fruition by craving and grasping. In the same manner, then you have the imprints of the grounds of the imprints of the ignorance, which is like the first link of ignorance, and then the karma is the uncontaminated karma, which is the motivating factor. And in the case of our ordinary birth, then you have that particular karma brought into ripening by craving and grasping. Here it is the intentional wish to be born.
Saba may be in teaching Muslim to do you call you to my never shivi. Yeshila nevi Yaran Dachumba. Saba may be in teaching you, don't you Muslim to be any call you to my never shiva is a Korjiki Bambagi. Any or Bambala nevi Yaran Dachumba Tang. Rasanje Nam Ranja Dachumba Namdang. Nindu Seba Bambi, such to be Kasanam Tabi. Toby started like you say about Bambi. You do Bangsar. You do Papa Bambi, such to be Tasal Chanchu Samba Namla. She be Chiju Gui, and then you part of the chimba. Number she Toby, Kusuku, and this city that Karesana. Gunan Yomo Choji to be Cylinder Sirigana. Gunan Yomocho Cylinder Sibata Lamba, Sergi, Led and Nashi Cheni. Any leather juice hanging down. Many men are switching with Chinese Gashita Jibi Chinese, Takade, Maribi, Pajak Sadang, Ani Gulong Zoa Chamotal, Dala Dene, Ani Javalemba Nashi, Javale, Teni Casore, some should Javale. Ani young, some should be Gawada Jibi, and a two Chinese Yongore, Sungare.
That's just one. just like in the case of our own cyclic existence, rebirth, with our karma for a particular birth being brought into fruition by craving and grasping, and as a result of that, then you have name and form and aging and death and so forth. In the same manner, then in the case of the bodhisattvas, then you have you have the uncontaminated karmic seed, then which is brought into ripening by the force of the motivation, and then you have that in the ordinary birth you have name and form and aging and death, and so you have the life.
Mari Paja sa dila mate as a tongudu. You are the sea be tamboni, Genji Tanini, Mara Kwa Toma Mebana, Nyomo be Paja, Rinda Ma, Rindangaji Tomara Chebi, Kogam Yebana, Saas goddess. Together.
Where do you know?
I have no idea.
There.
Okay. Click new chasuna
Mara Kwa Toma Mebana, Nyomo be Rindangaji Toma. Chebi, Ringachima, Rindangachi Chima Chebi, Kogan Yabana, Saas goddess.
What is defined as a ground is that continuum of that particular affliction, from the past continually to the present and future, like that is the ground.
시집지 뒤에 니모제 마인비 마리바 른다 파마차도 중앙 테니 나 마리파자 테니지 사데.
Here in this case we are talking about a ground which is a knowledge obstacle, not a ground, not the obscuration of afflictions, but a ground which is regarded, which is a composite of the the obscuration to omniscience.
마리 바자데 사데 베자디 잠바 타마와 깨와님베가나 소남다 마인바다 묘유 레지 디비 두제남지주 가르사 때리 하나 중이나 이제 토명 말이 받으러와 말이 받아 집어래 빼잖아 그냥 이러면 아시래.
This is like this is the what is known as the uncontaminated seed, the obstruction of the knowledge obstacle, the obstruction to omniscience. So this is like the equivalent of the seed in the case of the 12 links. Then you have the seed, that particular seed or that karma. Then the yala chuni legi na shi.
대단 집어래스. 좋아. 다 유니찬이 말이 바자기 싸기 젠젠스나 대불라시고 좋아. 니몸비 사바미비 이기 랑싱지 류지 예래. 사바미비 이기 랑싱지 류지 예래지 주.
And so this uncontaminated seed acts as the substantial cause for the uncontaminated mental body. 사바미비 이기
이지랑신 그 류지 주. 아니 아니 섬주 셈바인바. 기술을 요하래서나 아니 산다 혼자 샤바기 내란 다좀 받장 아니 녀몬 방바기 아니 타바사송 가사기네 가사기를 여봐.
So this uncontaminated seed, which is the substantial cause for the uncontaminated mental body, then who has that? Who has that kind of body is those who are in the last 3 stages of the bodhisattva ground.
어디 텐다에 가서 숨나 예바게 셈벤 류바 아니 가서 숨지 류위 가서래 류가게 남리 제체기 남리스나 레르와 남리 제크수 남리 제체기 아니 그런 거 저와 참어대 안에 사바 maybe 레슨가 테스트를 다중해서 아니 량이 기저와래 왕기 이거 되게래다 배송바래 쓰고래
So this uncontaminated seeds then brought into ripening by the intention, which acts as a motivation, then is what gives birth or rise to the three types of individuals on those pure three grounds. So this uncontaminated karmic seed, karmic seed is likened to the second link of the karmic formations.
일단 다 되게 된다비 아니 가서 말을 받아 싸다 사매기 날에 때내 집이 아니 유지랑 신지리 빵바임바데 대화탐이 바로 치고 사주스 자기도 와.
So when you have come to abandon, when you have abandoned, birth brought on by common delusions, birth brought on by uncontaminated karmic seed, which is the mental body. When you have abandoned these, then that is the perfection of bliss. Okay, you can ask all the questions now. Wherever you got lost. Yeah, go ahead. And tea now cutting on the delay or tea gang tea de Kadiko to delay or gang page 57.
참스인데.
참스거.
참다는 딜라스다.
So in English.
장와탑이 바로 좀 바람지 타좀 봐. 뒤에서 믿어 보세요. 저와탑이 바로 좀 봐. 톱. 셋.
Okay.
Just the discussion we just had on the perfection of bliss. So then that's only applies to a Buddha. Is that correct?
대외 바로 지금 단다 갱지 순열와. 디 상계 사마시 영말 봤어.
영말.
Yes, only in the state.
바로 좀 봐. 생각이 가면 야면 자야만 영말이.
The application of the perfection in self you have to apply to a state of Buddhahood.
네. 야. 스탠 예.
머리 바짝이 싸다 시집 직벌을 했어.
머리 바짝이 시집 강가지 봐 말이. 와.
All are not the same.
지당 시집라 니루라 탄주어 샤고 인장 머리 바짝이 시집되라 시집이 사변식.
Shidi is sovereign. According to the Prasangika system, which is now what we would have to follow, then we would have to say that the grounds of the imprints of ignorance is the seed for the knowledge obstacle.
시주라, 고아 시주래디, 시주라 바자 되기 왕기 말한조라. 아니 니난 추와, 연루기 나위 차지와라. 네 시주래, 대 반이 바자 사마리.
So,
아니
this is emotional a bit loud because when you say it is a knowledge obstacle, it has to be the subtle dual appearance. It has to be a subtle dual appearance for it to be an obscuration to omniscience, or obscuration to knowledge, it has to be, it refers to our subtle dual appearance. Ninan Tuares.
Randu, Dinzingi Paja Teratene Chungyi,
Ninan.
Ranzola, Suso, Kandatin Anna Yang, Dendrudena, Ninan Truachuari, Tachi, Chiava Marico, what I mean to Chicha. Undi, Shijunjua, said it.
This is a Maripajak Sagite line. So that subtle dual view arises from the grounds of that imprint of ignorance. It arises from that. We were talking about the grounds of the imprint of ignorance earlier. So this is what gives rise to that appearance of subtle dual view. So this subtle dual view is not a consciousness. It is a demenduge, non-associated compositional factor.
Dila, Dinzi Hidu de Dangandi, Tanju Dukumarawa, Dinzi Yidurawa, Dinzi Yidu Indicana, Dinzi Sajavan Pansar.
So in the Prasangiga system, then you do not say that grasping at true existence is a knowledge obstacle, because in the Prasangiga system, this is already abandoned for, at the 8th bhumi. So then on the pure grounds, then you have the knowledge obstacle, and these knowledge obstacles are rooted or arise from the imprints of the grounds of ignorance. And so, the way in which this knowledge obstacle is experienced is in the form of this, in this subtle form of grasping at the truth, true existence.
When Rinpoche was talking about the perfection of selflessness, is that then like a stage before getting to the perfection of self?
Tenchi da maybe parallel to chimbachi suswa. The da parallel to chimbe khonla da maybe parallel to chimbachi tokwa in that west. Da maybe parallel to chimbachi olwa tenchi gengchi suya. Di ngela top intonation di shugo khasure da ki parallel to chimbachi olwa in the west.
Sangda ni kaban
Tenchi
Sangda dedang Sangwa da dewa tapa ni
Tenchi dakle tenchi gang godu chik dame be paru de chimba chik suswa.
Ore toni ngosum de towa la den dan derwa tajin toba ngosum de towa la den tar ani kasore Chitawa sibi siba tatu batila ani dame be paru chiba siasong tajin.
Just said that when independence upon your realization of emptiness directly, then that is referred to as as the perfection of selflessness. That wisdom directly realizing emptiness as seen by a Buddha. Just as how the Tathagatas see it exactly for what it is, ultimately seeing is the perfection of selflessness.
지다왕 모습 도 이시되기 진여왕 모습 시투고 말이 진여왕 모습 도 로되기 진이 지다와 시투고 말이 다 지다와 집에 로되기 Sipata to be Gana, Logiki, you do, Chidawata, Chinyaba, Musum to Situba Yinzang, Chidawa, Lochimi, Sipata to be China, Dame Batabi Paruchimbas. Dame Batabi Paruchimba.
So when we talk about an ultimate way of seeing, as in the case of the Buddhas, or here when the perfection of selflessness is usually referred to a state of seeing in which you are able to see both ultimate and conventional reality at the same time. Because on the path, while one is on the path, then if one sees conventional reality, one doesn't see the ultimate reality of that. And if one is seeing the ultimate reality, then one doesn't see the conventional reality. So when we talk about the perfection of selflessness, or the ultimate form of seeing is seeing both conventional and ultimate reality with one mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Meto Chamahajira Linshi Namanda Shela Chaparsho Monsanke Yordane Paras
Chanju Sanjo Rembo Jema Jebana Jejo Jewa Nyamba Yang Kone Kondo Beva Shokari Rave Gui Shinkande Bendan Dewa Malejo Jere Sewan Denze Jazo Ye Shebe Sideba Denjo Jezen Lama Guzera Denje Nanga Chile Chojo Jewa Dan Losan Dembe Deme Kuri Mise Dado Ne Juji Kempe Bayu Chida Chemada Guindo Sambo Deyan Jishin De Deda Kunji Dewan Dida Tamje Rabdu Ngu Disun Shive Jawa Tamje Jengo Kanda Chodo Dagi Geve Zawa Dugwe Jan Sambo Jeji Rabdu Ngu